So let us start today's session. So today's session, I'll plan first. We'll start with some introduction, like what is Playwright and what exactly it is, and what are the different features, and why we need to choose TypeScript especially instead of JavaScript. So that we will discuss, and I'll take another 40 to 45 minute session, and after that, we will have a general discussion like related to uh, training curriculum, duration, material, videos, all these things. We'll have some general discussion, and after that, a Q&A session. If you have any general queries related to anything, so we will discuss that part. Okay, so throughout the session, 40-45 minutes, I'll mute everyone. And if you have any queries, anything, you can put in the chat box. And after the session, I'll unmute everyone. So if you have any questions, so you can ask. You can unmute and you can ask. Okay, so that is a plan. So first of all, let us start with Playwright introduction. So what is Playwright? So people who already know about Selenium, so or people who already know about some programming language, for them it is very easy to learn. But if completely new to automation or programming, or if you don't know, or if you don't have any idea about software testing earlier, so you need to do some work on it, and then you can understand, especially the programming part. Okay. So first, let us start with what is Playwright. If you have any queries, please use chat box. You can post your queries at the end of the session. You can also unmute and you can ask the questions. Okay. And I recommend everyone to maintain a small notes, because if you have any queries or anything, you can just note down, and at the end of the session, you can ask those questions. Right. So first, let us start with what is a Playwright basically. So which is very demanding tool, and which is more trending in the current market. It has gained a lot of popularity in the recent months. So this is the right time to learn Playwright. But Selenium still there in the market. It is going to be there next 1 or 2 years, no doubt in that. But Selenium, Playwright is also having similar type of features. So this is the only tool which will support multiple languages, multiple platforms, multiple browsers after Selenium. So that is the main reason it is gained a lot of popularity in the market. So this is the right time to learn Playwright. And going forward, it is gaining more popularity and becoming more demanding tool in the market. And as of now, there are so many requirements also started in the current market, and people who are starting the new projects, especially they are already starting with Playwright instead of Selenium. So this is the best time to learn Playwright with any language, but I'll prefer to choose always TypeScript as a beginning. So I'll also tell you why we need to choose TypeScript with Playwright. Okay. So what is Playwright first of all? So there are many definitions as per their official website. The first thing, Playwright is basically an open source tool by Microsoft. So this is comes from Microsoft. This is the only tool first comes from Microsoft, which is not having any license. It is completely open source. Just like a Selenium, this is also completely open source. What is open source means? What is open source? Open source is nothing but, is it free or something else? Yes, open source is nothing but it's not like a free actually. So there are certain tools there which are free, but they are not open source. There is a difference in the meaning actually. So many people think open source means is completely free. Yeah, Playwright is free. Also, it is open source. So open source is nothing but anybody can contribute and they can customize the code. Okay, so the Playwright, the entire development code is available in the GitHub repository. So we can get that code and we can customize according to our requirement. And also, if you have a good knowledge in the development, you can also contribute yourself, and you can add some more features to the Playwright along with the existing features. So that particular thing is called open source. Okay. So most of the open source tools are freely available in the market. And going forward, whatever tools we are going to use in our sessions, most of them are open source or free tools like Playwright, TypeScript, Visual Studio Code Editor. Okay, and LU reports, all these things are freely available. So open source is nothing but a customizable, which is open to everyone to add some more features to it. and also it is a free tool. Okay, and this is a first tool, or I think this is only the tool which is available freely from the Microsoft. So Playwright is an open source tool by Microsoft for automating web browser testing. It is especially meant for web browser testing. We can automate the web applications, but it is also support to test API applications, APIs, backend APIs we can test. Also, we can test something browsers in the mobile. It won't support native application in the mobile, but suppose if you are opening Chrome browser or any other browser in your mobile, right? So that browser you can automate. So the first definition of Playwright is what? The Playwright is an open source tool by Microsoft for automating web browser testing. There is another definition. We can say Playwright is a framework. Playwright is a framework for automating web browsers, enabling end-to-end testing. So what is meant by end-to-end testing? Anybody know what is the meaning of end-to-end testing? End-to-end, the complete, the application, which includes again web, API, mobile, everything. End-to-end testing. So Playwright is a framework for automating web browsers or web applications, which enables end-to-end testing. So here you need to understand one important thing, guys. If you look at Selenium, right? So Selenium is basically what? It is an open source tool. It is a free tool. But is it a framework? Selenium, anybody can tell? Selenium, is it a framework? No, Selenium is not a framework. It is just a library, right? It is a library which is providing certain jar files, and we can integrate with Java, and then we can automate, or we can write a Selenium WebDriver code. It is not a framework basically. But to develop an automation, we need to use certain framework. That is the reason when you're working with a Selenium, we take the help of TestNG also. But what is TestNG? TestNG is a framework. TestNG is a built-in framework in the market. So Selenium itself is not a framework. It is a simple library. But we need to also use something called framework. That is the reason we are also integrating TestNG along with the Selenium. That is the case of Selenium. But when you come to Playwright, Playwright itself is a library, plus it is also a framework, which is very, very important. Listen carefully. Playwright is a library. Also, it is a framework. So that is the reason when you're working with the Playwright, Playwright alone will support everything, like framework creation, everything which is built in. So we no need to use any external framework like TestNG in Playwright. Okay, Playwright itself is a library which will also support a framework. So the another definition of Playwright is a framework for automating web browser, enabling end-to-end testing. We can also automate end-to-end test cases, means which includes API, browser, mobile, everything which is related to the same application. So that is one definition. The third definition. And what else we can do with the Playwright? Beyond the web automation, we can also do API testing. So Playwright is provided an API through which we can automate any other web APIs. That is another one. So apart from the browser automation, Playwright also offers a dedicated API for testing and interacting with the web APIs. Means what? All REST APIs we can test with the Playwright. Like we can send get call, put call, post call, delete call, and we can also verify the response body. Right? All these things are possible using Playwright because it is also provided an API through which we can also automate APIs. And when it is got released, when it came to the market, recent months or recent years, we are hearing about Playwright tool. But when it is started, actually the Playwright is released in 2020 itself. Playwright is released in 2020 itself by Microsoft. And from then, now it is gaining more popularity in the market. Okay, so it is started in 2020 from Microsoft itself. And it is an open source Node.js library. As I said, first definition, it is just open source tool from Microsoft. It is also a framework. And apart from the browser, it is also able to automate APIs. In another definition, we can simply say it is a library. As I said, right? Playwright is a library. So what type of library it is? It is a Node.js library. Playwright is an open source Node.js library. So we need to understand this exactly. What is library? What is Node.js library? Again, let us compare with the Selenium. Selenium is a library or not? Just now we have discussed. Selenium is a library. Means what? A set of classes or set of methods, which is called as a library and which is not a framework. But when you come to Playwright, a Playwright is a library and also Playwright is a framework. Then we need to understand what type of library it is. Okay, when you come to Selenium, what type of library it is? Selenium. What type of Selenium library it is? On which technology that libraries got built? On which technology the Selenium libraries are built? On Java libraries. It is purely Java library. So JRE is required. So whenever you want to work with the Selenium, you need a JRE, Java Runtime Environment, right? Java Runtime Environment is required. Why? Because Selenium libraries are built on JRE or Java. Similarly, Playwright is also built on Node.js. What is Node.js? It is a runtime environment for JavaScript. Very, very important. Okay. Just like JRE is a runtime environment for Java. Similarly, Node.js is a runtime environment for JavaScript. Okay. Understood, everyone? So if you want to write any Java program or if you want to execute your Java program, what we need? We need a JRE, Java runtime environment we require. Similarly, whenever you want to run or whenever you want to write some script in JavaScript, and if you want to run through Playwright, we need Node.js. So Playwright is built on top of Node.js library. Okay. So these are the important points which we need to remember. So Playwright is an open source tool from Microsoft for automating web browser. Playwright is also a framework, not only library, it is also a framework for automating web browsers. So because it is also having inbuilt framework, we no need to use any third party framework library. But in case of Selenium, we go for TestNG or JUnit or Cucumber, something like that. But here in the Playwright itself is a built-in library. So our built-in framework is available. So we no need to choose any other type of framework. Third thing, it is also support API testing through a dedicated API, which is provided by Playwright. And it is built on Node.js platform. Node.js platform. It is a runtime platform from JavaScript. Whenever you want to write a JavaScript code, if you want to execute it, we need Node.js mandatory. Even if you want to install Playwright, Node.js is mandatory. Okay, I'll come to the TypeScript also. So these are the important points which we need to understand. What is a Playwright? So what is Node.js? As I said, Node.js is an open source. It is also open source. All the tools, whatever we are discussing here, everything is open source. We no need to buy any license. Okay, so what is Node.js? As I said, Node.js is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment. What is cross-platform? What is cross-platform means? Any platform. Means it can be Windows, Mac or Linux, Unix, wherever it is. Node.js is supported. So it is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment. Just like a Java runtime environment, JRE, here we have a JavaScript runtime environment. So whenever you want to run your JavaScript code, we need Node.js. And that executes JavaScript code outside of the browser. So normally where we will use JavaScript, where we will use is a scripting language, right? To implement something on the web application, like client-side scripting. We can simply say client-side scripting. So suppose if you look at any web page, what you can see on the web page? Different type of elements like input box, text box, images, logos, right? So different things you can see in the web page. How they have designed using HTML, right? If I use only HTML, we can design only static web pages. What is static web page means? What is static web page? The elements are present on the page, but there is no functionality associated with the elements. Just they are static. We cannot perform any actions there. Suppose if you want to fill some data, if you submit the data, you cannot, it is not possible. Only with the HTML page. Then if you want to add some actions to the elements, then we need a JavaScript. Okay, so through JavaScript, generally developers like web developers or web designers, so they add certain functionality or actions to the elements using JavaScript. So there exactly the JavaScript will be used at the browser level. But here we are not going to develop any web applications. We are not going to add any actions to the web elements. But how can we run the JavaScript without having any browser? So for that, we need a Node.js. If you just install Node.js, just like a Java program or how we will run Java program, similarly, if we just install Node.js, we can simply write a JavaScript code and we can execute. So that is possible using Node.js. So basically, Node.js is a JavaScript runtime environment. If you want to run Java program, we need to install JRE. Similarly, if you want to run a JavaScript program, we need to install Node.js. Okay, so this is the first understanding. So now, whenever you start learning a Playwright, so I recommend to start with the TypeScript rather than using JavaScript. So even JavaScript is also very popular in the market along with the TypeScript, but why I'm choosing TypeScript? So that we will discuss. So before that, first of all, why we need to learn Playwright at this point of time? As I said at the beginning, it's the best time to learn Playwright. So why? Going forward, it becoming very, very popular also. And let us look at the market trend. I'll show you the simple graph and how the tools are evolving in the market and how it is gaining the popularity. So simply by seeing the graph, we can understand how Playwright is going far away than Selenium and Cypress and any other tools. So let's go to the Google and just open this URL, npmtrends.com. So I have just compared here. Cypress is one of the tool available in the market as of now, Playwright, and along with the Selenium WebDriver. So if I look at here, the three tools I'm comparing, and you can select from how many years. So let's last 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. So let me take the last 2 years first. So look at this graph and three tools I'm comparing and see the demand in the market. So from the last 2 years, you can see the green color, this is the color, the yellow, this is our orange color, basically representing the Playwright. So green color is representing the Selenium, blue color is representing the Cypress. This is a market trend as of now. You can see from the last 2024, Playwright slowly beating the Cypress. See, blue color is representing the Cypress and Playwright is slowly beating the Cypress and now it is going above. Selenium still continuing in the just like a static line like this. So this is the current market trend about the Playwright. So that is the reason this is the right time to learn the Playwright tool rather than learning Selenium and Cypress. Okay. And if you already know Selenium Java, well and good. But this is also right time to upgrade your skills. Don't stop only with the Selenium Java. You need to upgrade with some other tool, especially JavaScript or TypeScript. So these scripting based tools are becoming popular in the current market. Even in future also, some AI related features are going to integrate with the Playwright. So that is another advantage to learn Playwright nowadays. Okay. So by seeing the graph, we can easily understand how the Playwright is growing and beating other tools in the current market. Right. Perfect. So now let us see why the Playwright is gaining popularity. So what it is having actually, what it will provide, what are the major features are causing the gaining the popularity. So we already have Selenium in the market, which is also having very good number of features and suppose multiple operating systems, multiple browsers, multiple languages. But still, why we need to go with Playwright? What are some additional features are available in the Playwright? Because of those features, Playwright is becoming very popular in the market. So let us understand and let us discuss what are those features available in the Playwright. So let me discuss all the features one by one. If I let's go to their official website also. And what is an official website? Simply say playwright.dev. Simply just search for Playwright. You can find this website. This is their official website. Playwright enables reliable end-to-end testing for modern web apps. And these are the browsers currently it is supported. And they have mentioned all the features like any browser, any platform, one API, no flaky test, no limits, fast execution, powerful tooling. There are multiple features they have mentioned here. We will discuss one by one. So the features of Playwright. So why the Playwright gained more popularity? So because of these features. So let us understand one by one. Okay, if you already know Selenium, you can easily understand these features. Even if you not understand, no problem. So later you can understand slowly once we start practical sessions. Okay. So the features, what exactly the Playwright is provided, why it becomes more popular now. As I said, just like a Selenium, Playwright is also supported multiple browsers. Cross-platform means it will support multiple operating systems and also multiple languages, exactly like Selenium. So they are the first three features. Selenium also does this. But apart from these three, what else the Playwright can do? So the first feature is what? Cross-browser. Cross-browser testing means what? It works on multiple browsers. It works on multiple browsers. What does it mean? So basically, there are multiple browsers in the market. If I look at here, Chrome and Edge. And these two browsers will use a Chromium. Chromium is a technology or a protocol which is used inside or you can say an engine which is used inside the Chrome and Edge. So Chrome and Edge browsers both are using same engine which is called Chromium, and Firefox and WebKit. So Safari is basically used on Mac or iOS, where Safari is a default browser. So Safari runs on WebKit. WebKit is an engine. So by default, Playwright will support Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. WebKit in the sense you need to think this is a Safari browser. Chromium means you need to think it's a Chrome or Edge browsers. Okay. Cross browser is nothing but what Playwright will support these browsers: Chrome, Edge, Firefox, and WebKit. So if I look at their official website also, they clearly mention four browsers: Chrome, Edge, Firefox, and Safari for iOS users. So these are the four browsers which are having more popular in the current market. And currently Playwright is supported these browsers. And this is called cross browser. Means what? We can create and we can run our test cases in different browsers, different type of browsers. So that's called cross browser support or cross browser testing. Similarly, we have a cross platform support. What is cross platform? We can create and execute the script in any other platforms. Like we can create scripts and we can run on Windows, Mac, Linux, everywhere. Even if I want to install Playwright, JavaScript, TypeScript, all the environments are supported. Windows, Mac, Linux are supported. So cross-platform also supported, or cross-platform testing is also possible. Then cross-language or multiple languages also supported. We can write the tests in JavaScript. We can use Playwright along with a JavaScript or TypeScript, either Java, Python, or C#. C# in the sense comes under .NET. So TypeScript and JavaScript, these are basically built on top of Node.js, Java, Python, or C#. So if I go back to their official website, you can see here. Node.js is representing JavaScript and TypeScript. Python, Java, .NET in the sense it is a C#. So these are the languages currently Playwright is supported. And what are the languages Selenium is supported? Selenium support JavaScript. Yeah, JavaScript is supported by Selenium. TypeScript is not. Java supported, Python supported, and C# is also supported. In addition, Ruby is also supported in Selenium. Okay, but Playwright supported these languages: JavaScript, TypeScript, and JavaScript, TypeScript is almost the same. 95% of the things are same, just few differences, few additional features we will get in the TypeScript. Okay, we will go and discuss that also. So in our training sessions also, I'll show you both. If you learn TypeScript, you don't need to learn JavaScript separately, because JavaScript itself is a TypeScript. Because some additional features are added in the JavaScript and make a TypeScript. Okay, so Java, Python, and C#. So these are the languages currently supported in Playwright. So cross-browser support, cross-platform support, cross-language support is there in Playwright. So these features are already there in Selenium also. But what else, what additional features we have in the Playwright? So that we need to understand. So in Playwright, as I said before, which is able to also test APIs and also mobile testing. Mobile testing is not completely mobile testing. We cannot test the native apps. What is native app? In mobile, we have two different type of applications. What is native app? Native app in the sense the apps which we have downloaded from Play Store, right? iOS Store. So these are all native apps like WhatsApp, LinkedIn, the different apps we are using in the mobile, right? So they are all called native apps. So we cannot directly test them. But we can test the mobile browser. Like in your mobiles, we have a Chrome browser, we have some other browsers, you're browsing URLs, right? And that we can test. So we have another option called test mobile app. Mobile, not app, mobile web we can test. That is an additional feature which we have here when you compare with Selenium. So it supports mobile testing for Chrome and Safari on Android and iOS. So mostly when I use Android phones, we have a Chrome browser. And I use iOS Apple phones, we have a Safari browser. So if you want to automate these browsers inside the mobiles, we can do that. So mobile web application testing is also possible. This is the additional feature. And as I said, another feature, API testing is also possible, right? Which is not possible in Selenium. API testing. So Playwright includes a built-in API testing, allowing you to test web applications and backend APIs together. So web applications, so we already know, right? So especially backend APIs also we can test. Like we can send different requests, get, put, post, delete, and we can also verify the response body, status codes, everything. So additionally, apart from these three, Playwright itself is supported mobile web app testing and API testing. And what else we have? Additional thing, we can also, it is also provided a mechanism called auto wait, which is another important features which is not there in any other tools in the current market. Automatic waiting, which is also called auto wait mechanism. So this is a limitation in another browsers actually. So when you go to Selenium, when you're writing WebDriver script, whenever you found some synchronization problem, what you will do? What is synchronization problem? Balancing your automation script along with the application. So sometimes what will happen when you executing your automation code, the script execution will be faster than your application response. Suppose you are trying to click on certain button, but the button is not available on the web page, still it is loading, then you will get a synchronization problem whenever you are using Selenium. So how we can fix that problem? By adding wait methods. We have again different weights in the Selenium, like implicit wait, explicit wait, and so on. So we need to add them manually in your automation script. Until unless you add the wait statements manually, we cannot solve the synchronization problem. But in Playwright, we have a built-in mechanism. So we no need to add any waiting statements manually. We no need to add any waiting statements manually. So this is the biggest problem in automation tools, especially nowadays. So automatic waiting, auto wait feature allow us to no need to add any manual waiting statements. So Playwright waits for elements to be ready before performing the action. That means what? As soon as the element is ready on the web page, then Playwright will start doing the action. Until then, it will wait. How much time it will wait? Maximum 30 seconds it will wait. That's a default time it will follow. And if you want to increase or decrease, we can do that by doing customization, but by default 30 seconds it will follow. So Playwright waits for element to be ready before performing an action. This is automatic process. We no need to put any wait statements in the Playwright. And that will reduce the flakiness. What is flakiness? This is the term which we need to understand. Playwright uses flaky test, flakiness. What is the meaning of flakiness or flaky test? So flaky means it is a behavior. Like sometimes test will pass or sometimes it will fail without doing any changes. It will pass. Suppose first time I'm executing my test case, failed. Without doing any changes, if I run the same test case one more time, it will pass. And one sometimes will pass, sometimes will fail. This is called flakiness. And by using this automatic weighting, we can reduce or we can avoid, most of the time we can reduce the flakiness of the test cases. Like we can, in other words, we can say instability. Okay, so because the application response or responding the application is not in our control. Sometimes it will take time, sometimes it will come fast, depends on many factors. So that is able to handle easily in Playwright. So automatic weighting mechanism are introduced in Playwright, which is not there in Selenium. Very, very important. So this is another very, very useful in Playwright, automatic weighting mechanism. And what else it is supported? So complex elements we can easily handle in Playwright. Complex web elements, for example, iframes, shadow DOM elements, we can easily handle in using Playwright. But in Selenium, if you want to handle them, we need to write use code. And there is no direct methods are available in Selenium to handle shadow DOMs and all. So we need to even if you want to work with iframes and all, we need to use a different kind of switching commands in Selenium. But in Playwright, we don't have such type of things. And the direct methods are available and very easy to handle complex elements, complex web elements in Playwright. So that is another feature which we have. So we can easily handle complex web elements or complex elements. We can easily interact with them in Playwright. So we can easily interact with the shadow DOM elements, which are tricky for other tools. If we want to handle shadow DOM in Selenium or any other tools, it's very, very toughest job. We need to write a huge code. So that is very simple or easy in Playwright. And parallel execution is also possible. If you want to achieve this parallel execution in Selenium, what we will do? Parallel execution, how we can handle parallel execution, how we can execute our test cases parallelly in Selenium by taking help of TestNG XML. TestNG must be there. Selenium itself doesn't provide any kind of features. So Selenium just a library. So if you want to add any new features on top of it, we need to take the help of TestNG. But here we no need any framework because Playwright itself is a framework. So it is here it is possible to run our test cases parallelly. It supports running tests simultaneously in multiple browser instances for faster execution. What is an advantage of running test cases parallelly? Faster execution. We can execute them very faster. So complex elements we can easily handle. Parallel execution is also possible. And when you come to the reporting part, does Selenium support any reporting? Do you have any reporting support in Selenium? No, Selenium doesn't support any reports. But how we can generate the reports at the end of the day when you're working with the Selenium? We need to again take the help of third-party tools like TestNG reports, XM report, LU report. These are all external third-party reports we need to integrate with Selenium. Selenium alone doesn't support them. But when you come to Playwright, Playwright itself is supported some reports, some reporting mechanisms are built-in reporters are there. But even if you want to integrate some third-party reports, it is possible. Mostly LU reports, we will try to integrate. So by default, the built-in reports are there in the Playwright. They're like HTML reports we can generate, and we can generate JSON, JUnit reports, and many more type of reports are possible by default. Also, additionally, it supports third-party reporting tools like Allure we can generate. So these are the very, very important features which are available in Playwright. Cross-browser testing possible, cross-platforms like multiple browsers, multiple operating systems, multiple languages are supported. Mobile web testing is possible, API testing is possible, automatic weighting mechanism are there. So we can also easily automate complex web elements like Shadow DOM. Parallel execution is supported and built-in reports are available, right? So these are all new features which are not there in Selenium. But what else? Not only these features, it is not stopped here. It is also provided some more additional tools, internal plugins, like which bundle with the Playwright itself. When you have Playwright, these tools by default you will get. What are they? Inspector tool, inspector. So these are the tools. Like in Selenium, we have a Selenium ID, which is basically record and playback tool, right? Similarly, Playwright is also provided certain things like that. Inspector. So what this will do is, It helps debug tests by showing click points and verifying locators in real time. So for example, you have, it is just like a record and playback is also possible in Playwright. We can simply record all the actions on the web page. So while recording the actions on the web page, which will automatically identify the element, it will capture the locators. Suppose there are some elements on the web page. Normally, if you want to get the locator, how we will get, you will just inspect that element and you can use selector hub and you can get the XPath, CSS or ID, whatever the things are available for the web element, you will capture it. There's a normal way to do that. But in Playwright, the inspector option is provided inside the Playwright itself, through which we can easily locate the element. We can easily identify the locators of the web element. So that is possible in Playwright. So this is one tool which is provided. In the practically, we will see in the upcoming sessions, I will show you each and everything, whatever we are discussing here. Inspector is one of the important component which is provided in Playwright itself. So do we need to write XPath in Playwright? Yes, almost all locators will work in the Playwright itself, just like Selenium. But in some additional locators also supported by Playwright, and Playwright specific locators, we will discuss them later, okay? But whatever locators are there in Selenium WebDriver, what we have used, same locators, same way we can also use it here. But in addition, Playwright itself is supported some more locators. Like in Selenium, we have a friendly locators like that, like in top, before, side, right and left, like that. So Playwright is also supported their own locators. We will discuss that. That is an inspector. So through which component, this component, what we can do, we can inspect the element, we can capture the locators of the elements. There is another tool which is provided by Playwright, which is called CodeGen, which is called as a code generation tool, also called as a CodeGen tool. Shortcut we call it as a CodeGen. What this tool, it is just like a record and playback. So this tool generate the or records your actions on the browser, and once it is recorded all the actions, we can convert those actions into any script. Like if you want to get the script in JavaScript, then we can convert, or TypeScript, Java, Python, whichever language you want to convert the actions into the steps, you can do that. So just blindly we do different actions on the web page. Like we'll open the URL of application, we enter some data in the form, or we'll submit the button. So these actions will be recorded. After recording, in whichever language we want to generate the script, we can do that. This is an automatic process. How it is possible? Using CodeGen. This is the tool which is provided by Playwright itself. Through this, we can do these actions. But we need to add some validations later. Okay, it will just record all actions on the web page on the flows. Once the script is got generated automatically, we can do some customization by adding different validation points or checkpoints. Okay, so this is another tool which is provided at Playwright itself. It's just like a record and playback tool. And additionally, it will be able to generate the script. And we can modify the script and we can do a lot of things. So inspector and code generator. Apart from this, there is another thing is provided called trace viewer. Trace viewer, that is another thing. So these are the only Playwright specific and they are not there in any other tools. First one is inspector, second one is code generator, and tracing, which is also called trace viewer. So by using this component, what we can do, we can trace the execution steps. For example, at the time of execution of your test case, that will automatically capture the screenshot. And it will record the video also. Like when you're executing the test case, it will perform certain actions on the browser. And this will automatically record those actions. And when you play the video, then you will know exactly what the test case does on the web page. So record the video. And these two we already know how to take the screenshot, recording videos features. We can also do in Selenium. Not recording, screenshot capture we can do in Selenium also, but we need to write a separate code for that. But in Playwright, the trace viewer will do that job. Automatically capture the screenshot, record the videos, and retrieve the flaky test. So we understood what is a flaky test. Flaky test is nothing but what? Sometimes it will fail, sometimes pass, sometimes fail, right? So What the trace viewer will do is it will try to retrieve the failed test. Suppose the test is got failed first time, and we can specify, we can ask Playwright if any test case is got fail. For example, let us try to run 2 times or 3 times. We can specify that. So accordingly, the Playwright will run the test case if it is again failed. Again, Playwright will run it automatically without initialization. Again fail, again it will run, again fail, again it will run. How many times we want to run like that? We can specify that. We can give some number. So that is a job done by trace viewer. So it will retrieve the flaky test. It will get the failure test case and run multiple times. And that we can specify, we can customize how many times we want to run it. So it will retrieve the flaky test and logs steps automatically. We don't need to use any logging mechanism, right? When you write your Selenium code again for logging purpose, we need to use log4j, right? To get the logs of your test cases, we need to again implement log4j mechanism. But here we don't need to implement any third-party logging mechanism. By default, this trace viewer help us to capture the screenshot, videos, flaky test will be retrieved and automatically generate the logs. And whatever information which we need for investigating the failure, all the information will be provided by this trace viewer. This is all automatically happen inside the Playwright. So inspector, code generator, and trace viewer. So these are the 3 important components additionally provided by Playwright, which is not there in Selenium. See how many features are supported. So because of this, Playwright is becoming popular nowadays. So whatever Selenium support, the Playwright is also supported, but in addition, it support mobile web testing, API testing, reporters also available built-in framework is also available. We don't need to use any third-party framework. And there are some built-in components also provided. Inspector will be useful at the time of identifying the elements, generating the locators. Code generator will help us to generate the code automatically without writing manually. And trace viewer will help us to get the information whenever the test cases are failed. We no need to bother about the information. Capture automatically screenshot, videos, flaky test will be automatically run multiple times. Logs will be captured. All information will be provided by trace viewer so that we can share with the development if there are any failures. So these are the main components are provided by Playwright. Okay. So because of these features, Playwright gained popularity in the current market. Okay. So now we have understood something about Playwright. So what is Playwright, what it does, and why it becomes very popular. And also I discussed some differences, what Selenium provided, what Playwright provided additional things. Now we need to understand the programming. So I hope everybody knows why programming is most important to learn the automation tool. Yes? Anybody don't know why programming is required for automation? Why programming is important to learn for automation? Yeah, it is also supported accessibility and visual testing. They are very advanced features which are also there in Playwright. Yes. Okay. So now let us see why the programming is important to learn any automation tool. If you want to learn Selenium, you need to know at least one programming language, either Java, Python, whatever. Similarly, if you want to work with Playwright also, you need to know some programming basics. And it can be JavaScript, TypeScript, whichever language it's supported. So why we need to learn programming before learning the tool is you can write test cases most effectively. Means what? The tool can understand the language. Okay, the Playwright is available, but how to use it? How the Playwright will understand your language? You know only English language. Your test case will be written only in English, but Playwright can't understand it. Playwright as a tool, it can understand certain things, and you need to communicate with that in the same language. So that is the reason you need to learn programming. So Playwright can understand JavaScript or TypeScript, Java or Python. So if you know any one of this language, then you can talk to the Python, or you can provide instructions to the Playwright to create our test cases and run the test cases. So that is the reason we need to first learn the programming and then start learning the tool. Okay, so programming will play very, very important role when you're working with the automation tool. So learning automation tool itself is not enough. You need to know the programming very well, which is very, very important. Okay, now let us understand why we need to start with TypeScript. So why we have to choose TypeScript for Playwright? Why not JavaScript? So Python, Java, you can keep them aside. You can also go with the languages if you want. But here we are mainly focusing on TypeScript. But why we need to go with the TypeScript rather than JavaScript? Both are almost same. Okay, there is no much difference between JavaScript and TypeScript. If you know TypeScript, you already know JavaScript. If you know JavaScript, you already know TypeScript. But additionally, some syntactical differences and some more additional features are there in the TypeScript. Other than this, everything is almost the same. Okay, so Playwright supported JavaScript and also TypeScript. But why we should go with the TypeScript rather than JavaScript? So let us try to understand what is TypeScript basically. So if I go to their TypeScript official website, this is a TypeScript official website. Just look at the definition. What it says, TypeScript is JavaScript. They directly say TypeScript itself is a JavaScript. It is a JavaScript only with syntax for types. With a syntax for types. What does it mean? In JavaScript, whenever you create a variables, we no need to provide any data type. So every programming is having different type of data types. Like we have in Java, we have an integer, float, double, character, decimal, something like that. Similarly, every programming language is having their own data types, right? So when you create a variable, you must specify certain data type. What is a data type means? Data type decides what type of data we want to store in a variable. So for example, let's say I want to store age of a person. Let's say I'll create one variable age equal to, let's say 30. What does it mean? Age is a variable, 30 is a value. Age is a variable, 30 is a value. Suppose if you're working with Java, if you want to create this variable and assign the value, you must define the data type like this. Int is a data type. So what the data type says here, data types decides what type of data we are storing into this variable. Right? Suppose if you say string here, we can store names, something like this, a different sequence of characters we can store. So for example, let's say string name is equal to, let's say John. So we can store a string into the variable. So these are the data types. Okay, so data type decides what type of data we are going to store in a variable. When you come to JavaScript, we don't have a specific data types actually. We have a data types, but we no need to specify the data type. For example, in JavaScript, you can straightforward, you can create a variable like this and I can assign the data. But you need to specify some keyword like where or let or const. So there are certain keywords are there. There are three keywords: where, const, let. So you need to just define the keyword. That's it. That is representing a variable, but you no need to specify any type for the variable. So whichever type of data we have assigned, the JavaScript will consider that variable as such type of variable. Like age is considered as a number. Okay, similarly, if I just simply say name equal to John. Okay, so this is name is equal to John. But in JavaScript, we need to specify a keyword called where, let, or constant, whatever you want. So let's say let, I said like this. So in JavaScript, whenever you store a data, accordingly, the name age will be considered as a number. And again, the John is a string. So by default, JavaScript will consider this name as a string. So if you follow these kind of behavior, then we can call it as a dynamically typed programming language. So JavaScript is what? Dynamically typed language. dynamically typed language. Okay, so JavaScript is an example. But when you come to TypeScript, what is additional changes they have done is it is statically typed language. It is statically typed language. Statically typed language. What does it mean? Statically typed language means we have to specify the data type. There is no other way. In like Java, in Java, we have to specify int, float, or double, something like that. So type must be there. Data type must be specified in front of the variable. Right? Similarly, in a TypeScript also, you have to specify the data type. Okay. So TypeScript is a statically typed language, whereas a JavaScript is a dynamically typed language. Even though if you're not specified the data type, it will automatically consider the data type. Even TypeScript is a statically typed language. Statically typed language. But in TypeScript also, you can write the same statement like this. It is allowed. Then what is the difference? In JavaScript, based on the type of data, the data type will be considered. This is a number, this is a string. Based on the data, it will decide. For example, let's say in JavaScript, I defined age equal to 30, right? Similarly, when I say I'm using same variable, age equal to 30. If I write like this, is it allowed or not? Can you guess? In JavaScript itself, first I have stored some value in age 30, which is a number. After that, I'm assigning a string into the same variable. Is it allowed or not? This is allowed. Why? Because initially the value is 30, it is considered as a number. Later on, I changed the value of the variable. Now this considered as a string. This is a dynamically typed language behavior, or behavior of the dynamically typed language. Same behavior you can also notice in Python language. Python language also support dynamically typed language. But when you come to TypeScript, you can create a variables like this, just like a JavaScript. But if you want to store string like this, it is not supported. Why? Because the 30 is already assigned to the age. The TypeScript is considered this age as a number. So again, if you try to add some string into the same variable, it is not allowed. Why? Because statically typed language. Okay, so this is allowed. But in addition, if you want to strictly specify the data type, you can specify that. You can say age colon number. This is a syntax colon string. Okay, so this is a statically typed language. JavaScript is a dynamically typed language. Just understand the difference. This is the only difference between JavaScript and TypeScript. Other than this, everything is same. But in TypeScript, some more additional features are added, like arrow functions, generic, some object-oriented, fully object-oriented features are completely covered in TypeScript. But in JavaScript, certain features are not properly covered. But in TypeScript, the complete object-oriented concepts are covered. So what we need to understand, TypeScript itself is a JavaScript only with a syntax for types. Types in the sense, data types they are talking about. Okay. So that is a one major difference between JavaScript and TypeScript. JavaScript is a dynamically typed language, whereas TypeScript is a statically typed language. Okay, now we need to understand why we need to go with TypeScript instead of JavaScript. We understood the basic differences now. So now why we need to go with TypeScript? Why TypeScript? Okay, so JavaScript is basically, when I take JavaScript, very important, even interview prospect is also, people will ask you some question on this. Listen carefully. So when you come to the JavaScript, guys, there are certain things like, I think you have seen this somewhere, ES3, ES4, ES5. These are the different versions actually. Have you seen this anywhere? ES3, JavaScript, ES6, ES5, currently ES6 is running on. So these are the different things on JavaScript actually. So what is this actually? ES3, ES4, ES5 and ES6. what is meant by ES? ES is nothing but a ECMAScript. Listen this, okay? ES is a full form is ECMAScript. What is ECMAScript? ECMAScript is a kind of a compliance which will followed by JavaScript. So suppose if you take any programming language, that should follow certain rules or certain regulations. So for example, if I take any web applications, if you take any web-based applications, they should follow W3 standards, Worldwide Consortium. That is a standard actually. For example, let's say it is like a identity, like companies will be there, right? ISO certified companies, right? CMM level companies. What is that actually? They are certain certifications. Similarly, all web applications should follow certain standards, which are called as a W3C, Worldwide Standard Consortium standards. Similarly, programming languages also should follow certain standards. That is called ECMAScript standard, or we can say it is a compliance. So JavaScript will follow ES compliance. What is ECMAScript? Understand this very clearly. You won't get this information anywhere. ECMAScript is a standard to which all JavaScript code must comply. So whenever the JavaScript developers are adding some features to the JavaScript, they should support or they should comply ECMAScript standard. So up to ES6, all these versions of JavaScript are supported or followed standard of ECMAScript. Till here, everything is good. Now, if you want to add new features in the JavaScript, listen this carefully. If you want to add some more new features in the existing JavaScript, what is an existing JavaScript? ES6. So if you want to add some more features, additional features in ES6, but those features are not compliancing ECMAScript, they are not following the ECMAScript standard, then how it is possible? It is not possible, right? If you want to add any features, new features in the existing JavaScript by following this standard, if you want to add new features in the existing JavaScript by following this standard is not possible. In case it is not possible, then what we need to do? So Microsoft wanted to do that actually. So Microsoft wanted to add some more new features into existing JavaScript, but those features are not followed ECMAScript standard. They don't follow the ECMAScript standard. So then what Microsoft does, Microsoft is created something called TypeScript. Okay, Microsoft is got created TypeScript on top of JavaScript itself. So that is the reason TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. So by taking JavaScript itself, Microsoft added some more features into JavaScript and call it as a TypeScript. But again, those features are not following the ECMAScript standard. So that is the reason they have created a separate thing called TypeScript. So what is a TypeScript now? It is a superset of JavaScript itself. You understand the reason, everyone? Why TypeScript came into picture when you have a JavaScript already? JavaScript is already there in the market, well established. It is following ECMAScript standards. But what Microsoft is Microsoft it want to add some more features into the JavaScript, but it is deviating the standards of ECMAScript. So that is the reason, without modifying the existing JavaScript, without deviating ECMAScript, they created a separate thing called TypeScript on top of JavaScript, and then they have added some more additional features. Okay, so let me write something here, because they don't want to modify the existing JavaScript. They don't want to deviate the ECMAScript standard. That is the reason they created something else, which is called TypeScript on top of JavaScript itself, and added some more additional features. Right? So with that, Microsoft got some freedom to add some features in the TypeScript. So a vendor such as a Microsoft cannot add features to the JavaScript language without breaking ECMAScript compliance. This is the point I have talked about. So not only Microsoft, any vendor, if you want to add new features in the JavaScript language, it is not possible like without breaking ECMAScript, but we should not break it. So that is the reason with the TypeScript, Microsoft can add new features if they want. So they have also added so many features, but those features doesn't follow the ECMAScript component. Remember that. So that gives Microsoft all the freedom in the world to make TypeScript as a feature full. Means they can add number of features in the TypeScript. So that is the reason TypeScript came into the market. So the TypeScript is very popular. Rather than using JavaScript, better to use a TypeScript along with the Playwright. So Playwright comes from Microsoft itself. Even TypeScript is also come from Microsoft itself. So compatibility will be very good. And moreover, the Playwright itself is started developing using TypeScript itself. So that is the reason we need to choose a Playwright. So Playwright is having a data types and statically typed language. Okay, and these are the main features, and all object-oriented features also supported. Like different OOPS concepts are supported, but JavaScript doesn't support all kinds of OOPS concepts. But TypeScript will support. Like TypeScript is also having certain advanced concept like generics, collections, all those things. So that is the reason we took the TypeScript as a programming language before learning Playwright. And most of the companies also trying to use TypeScript itself rather than going for JavaScript. Okay, so everybody's understood so far what we have discussed, the introduction part. So I'll stop here for today. So we understood what exactly Playwright is, and we understood what Node.js is. It is a runtime environment for running JavaScript programs. So we need to install Node.js. Later, I'll show you in the next class, I'll show you how we can install all of them. And we also discussed in detailed features of Playwright. Also, parallelly, I compared with Selenium also. What Selenium does and what Playwright does. What Selenium cannot do and what Playwright can do. So all the things we have discussed, different features and why it becomes very popular in the market. And additionally, there are three main components are provided by Playwright, like inspector, code gen, tracing, trace viewer, which is also possible. It's very easy to do that in the Playwright. We no need to write any additional code inside the Playwright. And record and playback mechanism is also there inside the Playwright. And we understood a little bit about JavaScript and TypeScript. What is the major difference? In the coming sessions, we will try to understand in more detailed way. We'll go with the JavaScript and TypeScript parallelly because both are same. So whatever the code you have written in TypeScript, you can run the code in JavaScript using JavaScript. Similarly, whatever code you have written in JavaScript, we can run in the TypeScript. Okay. So even TypeScript code, we cannot directly compile it actually. We cannot directly run the TypeScript code. So we need to convert the TypeScript code into JavaScript, then we can run the JavaScript. So compiler is directly available only for JavaScript, but not TypeScript. TypeScript compiler is there, but the compiler will convert TypeScript into JavaScript, then we will run the JavaScript. But there is direct mechanism is also there. We will discuss all of them in the coming session. So this is a first session. I have given some introduction. From the next class, we will start learning the programming. TypeScript programming will start, and then we will discuss about Playwright and everything. And initially, you don't need to install anything. I'll guide you each and everything, how to install Node.js, TypeScript, how we can set up environment, everything. I will guide you step by step, and you no need to worry about this. Okay. Yeah. So now we will discuss some general things if you have any question and answers.